Hey, what's going on, creatives? So let's talk about this. How do we move Midjourney and 11 Labs and all of these AI tools into a productive environment? And I'm going to showcase this to you because I am working on a project, and this is the project to build an e-learning module that helps someone learn the seven noble grapes and pair it with the best food. Now, I'm not going to get into all of this, but this is typically my real world job, e-learning and training and curriculum development, instructional design. That's what I do in the real world. And this is just a presentation I'm going to do on how to incorporate artificial intelligence into an e-learning module. So this is the subject. I decided seven noble grapes. Now, what I've done here is basically kind of outline the module, um, the what it's going to do, how we do the evaluation, the levels, and this part of gamification, the levels that you can place into gamification when you're doing e-learning module, the voice of the narrator throughout this module, the gamification methodology. And this really comes down to e-learning principles. When you're designing a module like this and you want gamification, you have to have elements in. And so this kind of steps through that process of what type of elements do we have to make a good e-learning module that adheres to good gamification principles in a sense. So the learning module, how we're going to put it out, the prototype screens, because it's not a real robust module, it's just kind of a prototype. I kind of outline what screens I'm going to actually have that showcase the bigger module where you can expand upon it. So the learning brief, this is essentially what a instructional design would receive from a client if they were going to try to build a module for them. That's basically what that is. The code, so there's a lot of external codes that I had to use, fine-tuning the model, and the Midjourney prompts. So I'm going to put the Midjourney prompts here because after we've created this module, what we want is to actually create the assets. And so I went through a process of determining what assets could be created in Midjourney and what assets would I have to go to Photoshop to create. So there in line is the process. So this is kind of that idea of taking the techniques of OpenAI, ChatGPT, the API keys, Midjourney, 11 Labs, all of these things and bringing them into a real world project. So the one thing I had to do was now think about the assets, and that's what I'm going to use Midjourney for. And I'm going to show you this process that I kind of went through to kind of wrap my head around how I wanted to approach it, especially since I didn't want to work in the Discord. In the Discord, I could probably do it differently because it has different tools, but I wanted to work inside of the website. So I started with a reference. Now, typically, this is how I get e-learning assets. Vector 2D e-learning illustration. That basically is the start of the prompt. So 2D flat illustration, vector illustration, e-learning module illustration. That is what gets me into that world of getting e-learning assets. And I started with this. This is a style. I created this image several weeks ago, and I like the style. So I wanted to use that. And this I created back with version 5 of Midjourney, and I did like it, so I wanted to maintain that. And so generated the images. not quite what I wanted. Tried it again here. Um, so I just went with the different stylization. So you can see stylized 300. I came here with changed it up a little bit and then did it one more time and finally got to this image here. And this is the one I liked. So once I had this, then I wanted the backgrounds. What was the background, the overall color schemes that I'm going to add her into? And so we came in and found this prompt that had this image as a reference image, and another image as a style image. Okay. So this was the prompt, and I just said wine tasting room, flat design, vector illustration, the style, the light orange, sky blue, pastel colors, simple shapes. And so we got the style right that I wanted and went through with a couple of illustrations of it just to see how it would look. So wide angle shot this time, wine tasting, add 2D vector illustration, and kept it pretty simple. And I did like it. So I kind of stopped there and decided to move on to if I could get some type of icons that I knew I would need. I would need icons. And I don't like these. So I tried it once. I did not like them. Went back to the background. And you can see here, we changed the prompt up just a little bit, but still pretty much getting the same images. And then what I did was I removed the reference image and to see what I could get with this prompt. And it got me this. It's not bad in any other situation. I would like these, but not for this situation. Okay. So I went back to using the reference, the wide angle. And so now we have it. And I wanted to finally get my character into this space. And in order to do that, this was the prompt. The wine tasting room, flat design, vector illustration, style of light orange and blue sky. Everything is the same. Okay, so of the 4 that we have here, this is the one I decided to go with. I like this one the most. I thought the overall design, the aesthetics of it was really good. The eyes, it just seemed to hold up really well for everything I wanted. So went through, got a couple more images just to kind of see what we can do without any people in it, to see what it would give me. Went back to creating some icons and other images, assets, but I think what it's going to come down to this, that I'm going to do the icons in Photoshop. I'm not going to get Midjourney to do this unless I can go through it and explore and find someone who can actually do this. Well, that's pretty much it. I then moved on to getting information cards. So this is a typical information card for a wine. Now, this is something I could create in Photoshop, but I want to see could Midjourney do this. And it's close, but to be honest with you, this is another thing I would probably do in Photoshop. I would lead to Photoshop to create. So The icons, other assets, I'm going to leave that to Photoshop, and the overall images of characters and backgrounds I will do in Midjourney. So that's the way I'm going to kind of divide it up. If we come here now, what I wanted to do to see, could I get different expressions? And I used the character reference and the image, and it was close. Like this was close to the original, not so much, but none of these were really close to the original. That even though I used the character reference and I used the image reference, um, the style was what I wanted, but the character was not it. So I went with a different approach. You can see here I tried it. I tried a different approach. I put the character reference and the reference image back, and it got this. Still not what I wanted. So this is what I did. I went back to the original image and I did a very region. And from this, what's much closer to the original than all of these others. Because if we go back down to the original, I'm just going to grab her and okay. So if we go back to the original, this is what I want. And by going to the very region, I was able to do it. So let's go ahead and we're going to hide all of this. So we're going to hide all of this. And you can see I went again, tried to do something different. It didn't really work out. Hide. But the very region did. So you can see that the first time I tried it, it got close except for the glasses. And so it eliminated the glasses. So the next time I did it, I went in and had the very region, happy expression, wearing glasses. And we got this. You come here, very region, happy expression, wearing glasses. And this time what I did was, you can see I have the character reference. So if we go in, if we go back to the original and go to very region, you can see that I have my region selected. But then here I have my character reference. So here's the character reference. So I have my character reference. So that's the way I was able to get the different expressions. So we come here, said happy expression, wearing glasses, character reference. And even here, where I have happy expression, wearing glasses, clapping hands with the character reference, you can see we're slightly closer to the original image. So we have the hair. You can see the hair doesn't change. The background doesn't change. And so I can get away with this. And I may have to do it several times to kind of get what I want. But the fact of the matter is that this here, these images are much closer to the original than the ones that where I did not do the very region. So that's pretty much what it comes down to for these consistent characters. So this one, and you're probably not going to notice much. So that's the key with this, is to not notice much. But again, this is a prototype, so I may not spend a lot of time doing this. But if I were really selling this to a client, I would have to spend some time making sure that all of these images are truly consistent across the module. Okay, so then we got some wine features here. I just wanted to get some white wine glasses. This is how I'm going to create my own cards. This is going into something totally different, but this is how I'm going to create the cards. I'm going to use these here. And again, it was just a matter of finding some wine bottles that I like and just saying that it's a mock-up for a white wine bottle, which gives me this. Okay. So as I go through this project, I will show you more details from it, showing you how I'm pulling in all of these different assets. We have 11 labs coming in. We have the API coming in. So a lot of the things that I've covered in Quick Start Creative is actually going to get applied to this e-learning module. And it's that connection between doodling online, messing around with e-learning, and actually making it applicable to something in the real world. All right, so that's it. Done.